I've been getting a lot of questions about what exactly is the Reserve Component Survivor Benefit Plan, or RCSBP. If you're in the Guard or Reserve and you're approaching your retirement eligibility, that's about 20 years of service, you really need to pay attention to this video. You need to understand what your options are, what your timelines are, and how it can impact you and your family in the long run. It's really crucial that you understand this because once you lock in your decisions, it's very difficult to undo them. I'm Michelle Masher-Batista with Deliberate Military Experience, and this is for you, for every Guard and Reserve member out there. Before we get into what exactly is the Reserve Component Survivor Benefit Plan, what is the Survivor Benefit Plan? If you didn't watch my video about Survivor Benefit Plan versus life insurance, you should go back and watch that. But in a nutshell, the Survivor Benefit Plan is a way to ensure your spouse or a family member continues to get a part of your military annuity or pension should you die before them. The Survivor Benefit Plan provides about 55% of your retired pay to, let's just call it your spouse. But it's not for free. It comes at a cost, and it's something that you'll pay for about 30 years of your retirement. That's really great for active duty members, mostly because it just automatically can happen as soon as they leave the military in a retired status. But for Guard and Reserves, there's this tricky area called the gray zone from the point in which you retire and separate from the military to the point in which you can actually start collecting your retired pay, which is about age 60, depending on your situation. So what happens in that gray zone? And that's where the Reserve Component, SBP, comes in. There's an additional cost, but it also can provide you additional protection should something happen to you, especially during this gray zone area. When you are nearing your 20 years of service in the Guard or Reserve, you will get what's called a 20-year letter, and it basically puts you on notice that you need to make a decision, and a very important decision. Once you get this letter, you have 90 days to make an election of options A, B, or C. Now, the 20-year letter is something that you should not ignore, especially if you have a spouse. It's something that you need to discuss with him or her so that they are informed. Because if you choose not to get the Reserve Component SBP, they need to endorse it. So when you get that 20-year letter, really pay attention to your timelines, because if you don't, a decision will be made for you. So what exactly are these options, A, B, and C? Option A. Option A requires your spouse's endorsement because it basically says that you do not want coverage during the gray zone area. Why would someone want that? A variety of reasons, but primarily it is for people who potentially feel that they are lower risk. They don't feel like they would die, especially under any natural causes between the ages of, let's call it 40 and 60, from the time you might retire and separate from the military to the time that you actually start collecting. Additionally, a service member could have their own life insurance that would more than cover the cost or reduce the risk should something happen. Again, the Reserve Component SBP is not free. SBP itself is not free. That has a whole separate cost. But for the Reserve Component, it costs more. So under option A, you can elect with your spouse's endorsement and support, basically saying, I don't want coverage during the gray zone, and I'll make another decision when I'm 60, because at the age of 60 is when you can actually file for your retired pay. And if you didn't know that already, that is something you'll actually have to do. When you retire from the military as a Reserve or Guard member, you leave the military, but when you turn 60, you actually do have to go and apply for your military retired pay if you didn't know that. So at that point, you can elect to then get the Survivor Benefit Plan, same as an active duty member, and you can pay the approximate 6.5% for the regular Survivor Benefit Plan. You're foregoing the Reserve Component add-on, and that basically is option A. Again, you need to make that decision within 90 days, and if that's something you want and you don't do it in 90 days, you won't be able to go back in time and fix it. You'll be on the hook for options C, which we'll get into later. Option B is called the deferred option. Unlike option A, where if you retire from the military and you pass away before the age of 60, your spouse gets nothing. Option B still provides your spouse annuity protection in the sense that they would get 55% of your retired pay. However, they would still have to wait until the age in which you would turn 60. So for example, if Sergeant Smith selects option B, they would, and they pass away at the age of 50, their spouse would not get their 55% of their retired pay for another 10 years when the individual would have turned 60. The benefit for this is that you do ensure your spouse gets a continual annuity, but it does cost a little less. So if the premium is a factor that you want to consider in your calculus of whether you want to pay for a survivor benefit plan, this is a good option to ensure that your spouse can get something, but more at that retired age, and it would not cover them to receive anything during the gray zone, although they would be protected during it in the long run. Option C is the most common option. It is the immediate coverage. And so what this means is that if a Reserve or Guard member retires from the military and they either select option C or it's their default option because they missed the opportunity to select option A or B, is that if a service member, retired service member from the Guard or Reserve passes away at the age of 50, their spouse would immediately receive their annuity benefit at that 55%. They wouldn't have to wait until the member would have turned 60 or at all. The downside of this option is that it does cost more once you start collecting. So why would the military allow this to happen? I think they're betting on you not dying before 60, because once you start turning 60 and start collecting your military retired pay is when it's time that the automatic deductions for this program will occur. So it does cost more for option C because the military is covering the cost of your potential demise, quite frankly. They're hoping you don't because they want that money from you when you retire. It will come out of your retired pay, not out of your spouse's 55% annuity if you kick the bucket. So that's the main difference. And so what are these costs? Let's get into that a little bit because that will help drive your informed decision making. But first, let's just do a quick comparison of options A, B, and C before we get into that. Again, option A provides no coverage before the age of 60. Option B protects your spouse in this situation, but they won't get anything until you would have turned the age of 60. And option C is that immediate coverage protection. With regard to the reserve component premium cost, option A costs nothing because there is no coverage before the age of 60. Option B is moderate. Option C is the highest cost. Option A does allow you the option to select regular survivor benefit plan if you so choose to do that at the age of 60. Again, more on that in the previous video on survivor benefit plan versus life insurance. The survivor benefit plan premium is deducted at your retirement pay for both options B and C. Option A is best for members willing to assume the risk, and if they're healthy, perhaps they have alternative finances that could cover down so that to ensure that their spouse is covered. Option C provides that immediate coverage, but it will cost the most. So back to costs, that's pretty important. Let's get into that now. When trying to make an informed decision, it's going to be a bit tricky here whether to decide if the reserve component survivor benefit plan is right for you and your wallet, quite frankly. If you're not versed in insurance, there's many factors that go into it, and just like if you buy car insurance, it depends on your type of car, what year, is it Does it have the latest safety features? Will reduce your cost of a car insurance. So same here with this reserve component survivor benefit plan. It depends on your age, your spouse's age, how much coverage do you want? I'm working under the assumption that you would select that you would want full coverage for your spouse, that full coverage being 55%, although you don't have to elect that much. So that's just another factor to consider. But in this example here, we'll just go under the assumption that you would retire between the ages of 40 and 48 and that you and your spouse are near in age. If you selected option B, again, that's the deferred option where if you pass before the age of 60, your spouse would not get the benefit until you would have turned the age of 60. You can see that the range of the additional costs would be anywhere from 1.75% down to 1.49%. For option C, the immediate coverage add-on rate is about 2 to 2.5% of your retired pay that you would start paying automatically when you got your retired pay. How does that translate? Glad you asked. In this example, it shows that if you're expecting about $2,500 a month for your retired pay, and you wanted to get the reserve component survivor plan, you can see how the numbers would be different. In both cases of B and C, and A should you select, the regular survivor benefit plan costs 6.5% as of the time of this video, and that would equal about $162, which is about that 6.5% times the $2,500 a month of retired pay. So that $162.50 would come out automatically out of your retired pay once you start collecting. For options B and C, you can see how their numbers do change slightly. For option B in this example, the $39.50 equates to about 1.58% of the retired pay. For option C, that $55.75 equals about 2.23% of the retired pay. So as you can see, you pay more under option C, but you can ensure that your spouse would have that immediate 55% annuity should you die during the gray zone before you turn the age of 60. So that would equal, when you look at the far right column, total monthly premium, those are the numbers you can expect to pay, or that would just be automatically deducted from your paycheck pre-tax each month for a very long time. Expect to pay for 30 years. So if you start getting your paycheck at the age of 60, you will be paying these premiums until the ripe age of 90. You might as well consider that the rest of your life. And again, it costs more than that $162 under normal SBP program because the military covered the risk of you dying during the gray zone. So even though that time has passed, it is time to pay it back for a 30-year allotment of time. Side note, if you don't know how to get your projected retired pay, you would take your number of points that you can expect for your time in service divided by 365, that's 365 days a year, times 0.025 if you're under the legacy program, and you multiply that by your average of your top 3 earning years. But if you're under the blended retirement system, use the factor of 0.02, or just go watch my whole video on blended retirement system. Now that we've gone over all the options and approximate costs that you can expect to pay under options A, B, and C, just a couple reminders on some things. Remember, if you're going to select anything other than option C, in which you can just let that happen automatically, you do need your spousal concurrence so that they understand the risk that you are partaking in. Additionally, your paperwork will have to get notarized. You can then submit it to your S1, MPF, whoever handles your personnel paperwork, upload it into the system to make sure that the right selection is made. Now, don't forget, all this needs to happen before the 90-day mark That's 90 days post-marked your 20-day letter. Don't make the mistake and miss that deadline if this is important to you. Otherwise, you're just going to get rolled into C. You can't really change it. Whoever is in the system as your person to receive benefits on your behalf, should something happen to you, it's just going to happen. So take the time, mark your calendar, and don't wait till the last minute. Remember that the survivor benefit plan is not life insurance. This is a continuation of your annuity. It might feel like life insurance, but life insurance is a lump sum event. It's a standard cost. Again, go back and watch the previous video on SBP versus life insurance. But basically life insurance, you pay a premium that's fixed. It doesn't change. And then your spouse or whoever you designate just gets a lump sum tax-free. SBP, annuity, should your spouse collect after something happens to you, is COLA adjusted, but it's also a taxed benefit. So that's just something to consider as you discuss it with your spouse or partner. The reserve component survivor benefit plan is all about risk. How healthy are you? How healthy is your spouse? If there's a chance that your spouse might pass before you, maybe this is something that you should just not worry about and kind of weigh the risks there. What do your finances look like? If you haven't had a deep dive into your finances now and in the future with your spouse, I highly, highly recommend that you do, so that you can make informed decisions along the way, because what you decide now or at your 20-year mark could affect you for the rest of your lives. A simple way to remember the options is option A, I'll decide later. That's at the time when you file for your military retired pay at the age of 60. Option B is I'll decide now, but I'll defer the payments. And option C is that immediate coverage to ensure that your spouse gets covered in the event something happens to you during that gray zone. I really hope this video helped clear this up. It's a very confusing topic, so I would definitely encourage you to go back and watch that survivor benefit plan versus the VGLI video to help pull it all together so that you and your family can make informed decisions. If this video was helpful to you in any way, please like and subscribe. Thanks so much, and leave a comment below on the next military topic you'd like me to cover. Thanks.